banned on blue side. That's quite rare. Typically, those are red side bans. Speaking of red side bans, Zeri has been left open for JackeyLove. FPX going to take the Jinx as well. I wasn't convinced by the Jinx last game. I think the Ezreal would have worked better for them for that safety. But they are going to commit into that once more gun, that reset combo. We'll see what top esports want to go for here. If they want to answer similarly in the jungle with that Trundle for Tian. And what else they want to pick up on this rotation. So then notice that Ahri is available. Not sure if they'll want to pick it though with the prospect of Lysandra to match.
You pulled out something nice there. Maybe they just wait for Care's direction once again with a Twisted Fate in game number 1. But hey, we get a return to the Trundle in game 2. Clid didn't really get to play the game with a smart invade from top esports. Maybe they pull out direction from that first game as well. Orcs with, I guess, a different direction this time around. I should change the topic because top esports now have a lot of mobility, a lot of movement speed on their side for the second game.
And what is a champion that can just slow you down with that frost, right, is the Lysandra. I think it makes sense here. You have 2 reset champions already. It gives you a third. Lysandra, very good answer into Zeri, very, very good into Ahri. Looks like they're not necessarily going that direction. Maybe enjoying the strength of Sylas for Knight last game, deciding to try it in their own hands. It is a good matchup in Ahri. You can steal away that ultimate, get that extra mobility. And even the Trundle ultimate is quite powerful to drain away the stats. You can steal it from the Trundle as himself. Obviously get more percentage drain with the AP that you end up having. So some decent options. I personally would have preferred the Lysandra, but I digress. Go to the next rotation. FPX can have top lane counter pick. And I think they may want to blind support here to give that over to xiaolaohu. So they're picking things that may cause concern. Like if you blind a sort of safe support and then they pick Yuumi, that is not a fun position to be in.
Okay, so what do you expect from xiaolaohu here? The Fiora banned away already, as we talked about, the Gwen gone. What kind of goes through with this comp in your mind when we see already quite a bit of skirmishing built up with FPX?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you could even pick something like the Kayle coming out here if you get the right setup in terms of how draft ends up powering through. We've seen, obviously, the Kayle earlier today work quite well. You can make something like the Camille if you want to have that extra dive potential. It's also very good into both the Ahri and the Zeri. If you get the right matchup for it, you just ult them and then that mobility means nothing. I wouldn't really want to take a tank as much as having some engage the team fight would be nice because there's a Trundle on the enemy side. So probably something like that in my mind.
Yep. Okay, well, that Kayle's still left open available. Support band still coming through. The Renata as well, Orcs. You and I sitting on Discord a bit before, and you're just saying, Renata's busted, dude. And I guess it makes sense when you look at how much dive FPX have.
Yeah, a really painful one. I quite like the Nautilus again. I've talked about this ability to CC to lock down these mobile targets. Limited counterplay. Obviously, the Zeri can hop over a wall while the ult's traveling towards her, but then you usually end up miles away from the fight, which obviously has its own downsides. So I expect FPX to probably lock this one in. And now for top esports, they need the blind top. They also need a support. Mark considering just going for the Braum again. It was a good matchup into the Nautilus, so they will take that one. And a blind GP makes a lot of sense. It does give a powerful ult for Sylas to steal, but it's a pretty solid pick. And we'll see what we end up getting from xiaolaohu to answer this. If he wants to pick something that's specifically going to counter it in the laning phase, or just pick something that's positive for the team overall.
I will be asking a couple of questions once he locks that in, Orcs, because this time we've gone a different direction.
Oh, I like
Graga's something that was banned, and I know you'll like it, but let's just count down that timer, because you also mentioned the Kayle coming through, and so we add another layer of scaling. You don't get your Gragas. I apologize. Maybe sometime soon.
What a shame.
Orcs, run me through FPX, because now that we have the Kayle, now that we have really fine elements of scaling, I think you need to give me a little bit more insight into this comp.
Yeah, they have really powerful when it comes to like team fighting late game, because they have the Jinx, they have the resets from the Viego as well. The ult from the Kayle, a really powerful tool. And it really comes down to top esports, if they can use things like Gangplank barrels, if they can pick with the charm, if they could use the W from the Zeri. That's kind of their tools to play around with. Whereas FPX, as long as you can just hit something with the Kayle, with the Jinx, you're in a positive spot. So a bit of a simpler composition for FPX here, but they are kind of relying on the fact that, mid needs to go well. Bot lane isn't the most positive matchup into the Braum. We've seen how that was problematic last game. Top lane, you're playing Kayle. You're opting out for the earlier portions of the game. So I think if FPX can survive at least to level 6 and ideally to level 16, they're in a good spot. But yeah, they will definitely be trying to play the clock on this one. Whereas top esports and Tian in particular, kind of happy to make this one get rolling sooner rather than later.
When we had the aggressive early games we've had in game number 1, a lot of expectations for top esports to come out rolling once more. The Ahri for Knight, a classic it has been this split. Wayward falling back on Gangplank, still one of his stronger champions as well. Tian massacred and downgraded Clid in the jungle in game number 1. It was something that was hard to watch here. And now we have JackeyLove on Zeri, which has been left open. Now, it might not be Viper, where in the last series, you all remember that EDG were giving away that Zeri 2 games in a row. I'm talking about when they were versing IG, and it was that was shameful. And as we come back onto the Rift, we're going to see if JackeyLove can do the same thing, because this Zeri has been pretty big in the LPL, pretty successful as well, Orcs, as we see it return once more.
You know, we've also seen, I think Betty was the person who piloted it, and I wasn't so impressed by. The main thing that sort of brought her into the meta again was the buffs to a W. W now crits. If anyone's not familiar with it, if everyone hasn't seen the crazy damage, but only when it passes through terrain. You know, if it hits terrain, it expands, gets that wider sort of hit ability. What am I saying? It's able to hit more things. It also passes through units at that point. So you're kind of playing around that, trying to find the angles. And I think that's a big part of top esports composition, is finding these opportunities to connect things. Like if you find a barrel combo or a good Zeri W or an Ahri charm in the team fights, that can allow you to win them. Whereas for FPX, it's simply a matter of just Lwx and xiaolaohu right click, right? You can't dodge right clicks. It's just being in the position to make that happen.
Well said. The right-clicking hope of that level 16 you talked about. Let's see if FPX can get there. As this time around in the jungle, we're not seeing any crazy shenanigans. It is a same-side start with blue for red. Tian on the bottom side of the map, you can see on your mini-map right now. We'll be heading up to the top lane, and so will Clid, Orcs, as we can talk a little bit about the laning phase here, considering that Wayward on the GP trying to abuse this matchup nice and early, and we might see junglers influence it as well, depending on wave state.
Yeah, you can see Wayward just trying to stack Grasp as much as possible and zone xiaolaohu out. You have a little bit of trade in return. It is fleet for xiaolaohu to get the healing. You're going to obviously use that with your E to get that increased healing from hitting a champion rather than a minion. Also, something that's quite nice is like pre-6, sometimes GP barrels can be a bit annoying to play around. The fact that you have that one ranged auto on Kayle means if you're really desperate, you can use it to clear out a barrel that's about to be detonated. So, you know, it's a lane that you can survive, but you're not going to have control of the wave state. You're going to be zoned off a bit.
Nice barrel from Wayward. There we go. Perfect. Yep. Kind of worried a little bit, Orcs. Last couple of series, haven't seen him, you know, press that T button, which, I'll be honest, is a normal emote button for a lot of people who don't have a World of Warcraft mouse. But at the very least, hey, what did we talk about in Game 1, Orcs? What did we talk about? Clid getting invaded on, this time not going to be spotted out by Tian.
Yeah, but this could be a potential for a dive setup on a xiaolaohu, but Clid, reading it, will head over. He knows Tian is here. It's going to be so risky to try and make this dive when it's a 2v2. xiaolaohu should be able to pick up this wave for the most part, but Clid will lose his Krogs.
Pressure is enough as the pillar comes through. Clid unable to get past it as well. That is just unfortunate. I mean, Chomp to come through. Tian puts him at half HP and threatens him off of his own jungle. He's going to zone him out as well. That just went from a trade, Orcs, a spotting, to a bit of a disaster again.
Yeah, and I mean, a big factor is top esports having prior mid, having prior top. No assistance for Clid, so he gets chunked out. Gets pushed away, and I like this one, the bot lane. Lwx and Hung have time. They leash the scuttle for him, end up removing the shield and getting it low enough. He can just come by, pick that up, can possibly invade and steal away the Krugs on the other side to mitigate. Now, Tian, I believe he took the big chicken and left the little ones. The little one's a bit of a pain for Trundle to clear, but also means they won't respawn, and now looking for xiaolaohu. This should be flash at least.
At the very least, pillar comes through. xiaolaohu near his turret. There's the flash, and Tian takes it with ease. Once again, an early game from top esports, working out perfectly. Well, now Clid's trying to get something in the mid lane, but Knight's walking up to his jungler as Care. Gets the engagement, he's at low health, and Knight is a charm. Ahri waiting for the respawn, he flashes away. Misses, though. And now Tian has to play in a 1 versus 2 without Knight's spell rotation up but available. Ignite already going down. Care with the flash forward. Gets first blood and means a reset for Clid as well. On top of Care, the chomp comes through, but he's saved. FPX finally gets some revenge as the pause. No! The reason I made you do that quiz because I wanted you to look inside yourself, you know, much like people do the Pottermore quiz. I don't know. Did you do the Harry Potter quiz? Like, are you a big... Oh, my God. Thank God. Did you do a Harry Potter quiz while we come into this game?
Yeah.
What house?
It was either... I think it was either Gryffindor or Ravenclaw. One of those two.
Yeah, right. Okay. Well, Ravenclaw...
But I can't remember.
think pretty, I can't remember if they're intelligent or not. Hey, we come back, ladies and gentlemen. Let me set the scene for you. We got a double kill for Clid. Care picked up one as well. It was a massacre. While we come back to live at 5 minutes in, FPX are getting dove, but his top esports one behind, and Clid is heading on up. This could be sketchy, but xiaolaohu doesn't have the ultimate available, and FPX roll right back into a game where things get evened up. Top esports getting a kill for Wayward, who seems to be the shining light as we come back from our long pause.
Yeah, we actually had a replay as well. Oh yeah, because I just remembered we were in the middle of that fight before. We didn't actually get to see the end of it. So obviously, Charm ends up missing. It's a nice flash from Knight, but doesn't catch the CC in reverse. And Care gets another set of cooldowns, has Conqueror stacked up, able to re-engage, and even with the Ignite to reduce the healing, survives a while. And now we finally get to see what happens on the back end. Wayward, I think, flashes and gets the parlay eventually. The question is, does he go down? Kills Care. And does go down. So Clid getting a lot of benefit, but also Wayward now 2-1 on that Gangplank thanks to that last gank. And we're back in the game.
Yeah, we are. Okay, so Wayward got the kills. So close. Like, so damn close to not finding that. And, you know, Clid having a much better early game. We talked about Clid in game number 1. If you're just tuning in, he got destroyed by Tian and was trailing CS for the majority of the game. But Aux this time around, 2 kills under his name, got a bounty. 10 CS over Tian, and FPX this time around are also going to be getting the first dragon.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a big positive. Early game's got a lot better for Clid, but a champion like Viego can snowball so hard you're ahead. And as you said, that first dragon, that was one of the concerns. This last game, they weren't given time to scale up because they were forced to contest those dragons. Even just getting one, you have to think of it this way, right? It's going to delay a potential soul for top esports by 5 minutes. Even if they get every dragon from now, it just adds time to the game. But now, seeing a skirmish come out,
but Smite comes down as Tian who secures Care going for the engage on top of Knight. Good charm as a response. Electrocute a little off the top, but Care doing pretty well in the matchup as well. As we know, he was part of that skirmish and came out the other end. Aux, he is trying to bully Knight in this lane, and good to see the confidence out of the young FPX mid laner.
Yeah, and Knight even taking Ignite to try and cut down that healing, have that grievous wounds. Still just wasn't enough in that previous fight. You got to remember, it has been nerfed to only 25% grievous wounds from Ignite, compared to 40, which it was on 12.9, or 30, which it was on 12.10. We see FPX pretty happy with the position of the game right now. Level 6 is going to be hit pretty soon by Clid, and that's where things really start to ramp up.
And so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that as well. This time around, Care can't steal away the Twisted Fate ulti, or should I say the Sylas, as Knight was Sylas last game against Care's TF. I want to ask you how FPX transitioned with this lead. They're 1.2k gold up. They've got control of the dragon. Herald's now spawning. And what do you want to see in this upcoming fight as Clid has 6? We get time.
Might end up seeing, no flash for xiaolaohu.
We never get time. Aux, unlucky, but this one is a 1v2 on the top side. Now, pillar placement means xiaolaohu has to pace his way around, but that ultimate's still there. As he pulls it out early, the barrel once again negated, but xiaolaohu walking towards the jungler. He's bought so much time, and Wayward's in a lot of trouble as Clid is here with the flash almost up and available. The Heartbreaker too. Reset number 1 as Wayward's on the wrong side of the rift, and Clid is angry for making him look so ridiculous in the first game. Heartbreaker over, Wayward going to be tackled down, and xiaolaohu picks up the kill. FPX are in charge for game 2.
Yeah, just devastating for top esports. The pillar placement from Tian, pretty dire. Allow xiaolaohu to kite it out, wait for Clid to get there. Level 6 on the Viego to level 5 at Trundle, and obviously, when targets are low HP, when there's an opportunity for resets, Clid is just in prime position to carry.
It's a 3rd kill. It's a camp worth taking up on the top side with red buff available with, I should just say all camps are available for him. But also look towards Herald. As Clid's not on it for now, Tian starts it off, but I'm curious, Aux, if FPX want this, because they are the team with a firm grasp on this game.
Yeah, the reset timings means they get that a little bit later. Clid doesn't have his ultimate, but they're still going to be here in time. This is going to be a full 5v5, and I favor FPX on this.
I do as well, but Mark is here first with his ultimate available. Hung has his own too, but top esports, the charm starts it off with Herald being the 5, but the lightning crash down here from JackeyLove. While FPX, the one's running back. They were late to the show, but top esports got the first kill on top of that. LWX is soloed out as Mark flashes for the Winter's Bite, and LWX has to burn his own. Knight in the meantime looking for trail kills, but Herald and a pick when you're the team 3k gold behind, that's something.
Yeah, I mean, top esports got what they want. They got the Herald, and because they were grouped up first, they were there initially, they're able to start things. xiaolaohu wasn't even in position. Clid no ult, xiaolaohu no ultimate. meant they could get that initial kill, and FPX kind of just had to scatter to the winds. The fact that FPX get nothing in return, pretty unfortunate. But you can see that the thought process was the same as ours, right? You're ahead. You should be the one picking up the Herald. So Top Esports finding a fantastic angle there.
Well, Wayward picked up the kill once again. Worth noting, these kills are stacking on singular targets as Aux. You talked about the pillar placement here and how long xiaolaohu bought.
Yeah, I mean, he's already started walking the other way. Tian just didn't expect him to walk in the alcove. Some alcove gaming here. The pillar does nothing. And as a result, there's such a long time where Tian just doesn't do anything, isn't able to hit. Clid turns up, and I mean, this Viego's already so strong with the ultimate as well. It's just over.
Again, we're saying it's good to see Clid in charge. We lose the Herald on the side of FPX, though, as we come on back. And Top Esports were able to get a trade despite that little maneuver up in the top side. So a game a little bit more even than it was a couple of minutes ago, but still 2k gold lead here from FPX. And Dragon's coming up in 35 seconds, Aux. Time to ask you more questions because, honestly, if you're from Ravenclaw, dude, you got a lot to tell me. This is an FPX-favored game. Clid is snowballing out of control. Care in a great position as well as Knight just gets chunked out before the objective. And FPX stacking up the Dragons here is a sign of good things to come, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think ultimately, FPX, if they can get the second one, as I said, gives them more time, but also leans towards them have the Soul Wing Con. They're strong in a team fight right now. We can see Lwx already has that Kraken Slayer. Divine Sundra on Clid makes them really strong. If they find a window, if they find a single reset, I feel like that should be the momentum they need. TP is available for xiaolaohu, but not for Wayward. Wayward did actually TP into the top lane. So I feel like Top Esports, you can't fight this.
Do you think Cannon Barrage is enough, Aux? Because maybe they do.
No, absolutely not.
Good. That's why I asked you these questions. Well, Top Esports are in the river, but Clid's angle is the one I'm interested in here, Aux. They start up the Dragon, but they do not know where this Viego is. Hung moving in, Care moving in. It's going to be a massacre in the making as JackeyLove is one behind the pit. Clid on top, though, with the spike coming through. And it's stolen by FPX, but Top Esports still alive and healthy for now. But how long does that last? 2 kills already going through as the Observer even almost had a stroke. 3 kills dropping through. FPX have gotten the resets you wanted to see. And Knight burning the flash. It's a sign of this game looking so much better. Let's check on that Observer. But mainly let's check on Top Esports because they're getting beaten bloody.
I don't know why Top Esports fought that. I mean, they didn't even need xiaolaohu. That is the crazy thing. They did not even need xiaolaohu to TP in. They could just take it 4v4 and the Cannon Barrage, as predicted, did very little to nothing to really mitigate that. And I think Clid found a fantastic flank angle, comes over the wall and steals the Dragon, as well as just bursting out both JackeyLove and Tian in this situation. And we said getting that reset initially very important. Tian dies so quickly, and then they just have the chase potential. Clid actually stealing Mark's body so he can W over the wall as well to follow Care, really using the ability that Top Esports has against them.
It's the mobility we talked about at the start of draft. And you're right, Aux. Using it against him is so well put. FPX now, gold to 4K. Got to keep pulling it out because it's 2 Dragons and the steal. And
if you look at the Herald, this is like the, oh no, it's running out, we have to use it.
Yeah.
So they decided to group up mid. FPX should expect this. They know the time is running out, so they'll be here to defend, but Hung's actually probably dead.
Yeah, the dredge line doesn't connect either. The pillar placement this time really nice as the charm secures a free kill, and that Herald placement in a panic is actually going to work out pretty nicely. As Wayward's flashing forward, burnt by xiaolaohu, the ulti not, as Wayward looks for the solo with the Trinity Force up and running.
Yeah, I mean, it's a trade of flashes. It's not really that big of a deal, but xiaolaohu happened to respect it. The ult wouldn't necessarily save him there. We do see Care getting chunked a bit. And ultimately, for Top Esports, that Herald could have been atrocious. It could have been like FPX were there to defend. They weren't able to effectively use it. But fortunately, Hung missed positions. He didn't have his flash at the time. The pillar is actually so powerful against Nautilus, because a lot of the situations when you're caught by Nautilus, you want to use your hook to get you out, use it against terrain, and you can just pillar in front and block it. So ends up being an okay Herald for Top Esports, but they are still 3,000 gold down, still 2 Dragons down. So not exactly in a good position.
So, Top Esports, Aux, what do you want to see here? Because when a game that favors late game of FPX in terms of the team fight setup you talked about, and to be specific of what you mentioned in draft was this team having really good range in the team fights as well. I believe you said with Kayle, Jinx, like this team can play great team fights. I think simple as that. So now for Top Esports, how do you mitigate that? When you've got a jungler who's fallen behind quite a bit, where Knight hasn't been doing too well in the laning phase, and Wayward is really the only source of great things in this second game for TES. Maybe you don't rely on Knight. Maybe you don't rely on Knight. Was that one of your answers?
It wasn't, but looks like it's going to be the case. So now, no flash. xiaolaohu.
Once again, but Wayward is doing a lot of damage. He's level 11. The ulti's burnt. They both don't have flash. As you mentioned, he's looking for the trade kill, but he won't find. At least Tian gets something, but look at mid being battered open by Kayle and Clid in the process.
This is the sort of thing you want to see, though. It's fine plays, but you have a numbers advantage because, you know, even if FPX are ahead, if you bring 2 against 1, 3 against 2, that's where you can find windows to turn plays around. And top esports rotate the bot lane up to defend this tower, so they will keep T1 alive, but it is still very, very low. We'll see if Wayward can get this one in return. The Triforce does give a lot of tower taking damage, and objective bounties are online, so that's at least something.
It'd be really nice, but can he get out of there alive? Turret's still standing.
Oh, he wants to so bad.
Yeah, you can tell. Wayward again, the person with the most gold on the team of top esports. While in the bottom side, Lwx gets the turret. Mid almost goes down, so those objective bannings stay standing strong. For top esports orcs, we have to also mention that with Dragon coming up, with this Herald at least being taken down, there are more opportunities to contest and maybe get some gold back in their favor.
Yeah, I think ultimately the reason I feel like top esports comp I don't favor as much in late stages, as much as like Zeri and Gangplank scale exceptionally, the burden of execution is higher. Connecting barrel combos isn't a surefire thing. Some players can do it fantastically. Some players we've seen struggle.
Yep.
Same with Zeri. We've seen Viper have that amazing performance on it, but also other players like Betty had a bit of an underwhelming. Oh no, yeah, I would do the same if I missed a cannon. But ultimately, that's how the team fights come down to. If it's a straightforward team fight, if FPX get a front to back, get the resets, they should just come out ahead. And with 10 seconds on Dragon, it looks like top esports are opting to sack it.
Well, Care might be the target though, because top esports yet. The play will be towards the top side. Care spotting it out, and Tian gets away with an enhanced recall. So Wayward doesn't commit either, and that's going to be the third dragon, a Mountain Soul, in 5 minutes time. It'll be something that top esports have to choose live or die by, because FPX are in the exact same condition that top esports were in game 1.
And I think a Mountain Soul would probably be the nail in the coffin here. The fact that, you know, we talked about things like the Gangplank barrels or the Zeri W, a Mountain Soul really weakens the effectiveness of those. You can see, like, think that 325 damage so much if that would be absorbed by the Mountain Soul as well. Like Knight with the Ahri, being able to burst down a target, being able to pick a target, particularly with his Ludens, mitigated heavily by a Mountain Soul. So top esports, 4,000 gold down. They have 5 minutes to work out what they want to do. They have 5 minutes to work out how they can solve this problem.
With FPX freezing down their throats as well. Great pillar in the nick of time. Through the gap, it denies Hung with the dredge line, but Wayward's still by himself. Doesn't change as the barrel train connects, but Orange out of the Everfrost. Lwx joining in, Hung behind enemy lines. But Clid not on the same page, so while Care's here with the cannon barrage, TP coming through, but he's got him ducked under turret. Takes him deep. Care going golden. Hung here as well. A messy dive from FPX, and xiaolaohu trying to save the support, but he's sure to die, and he can't take Wayward with him. FPX on multiple angles. A bit all over the place there.
Yeah, massive overcommit under the tower. Wayward doesn't go down so easily. And you even see some misplays like xiaolaohu using the ultimate onto Hung, and Hung also dropping the stopwatch. Obviously, he's going to build his Zhonya's, it looks like Hung is, so using the stopwatch not as much of a concern, but still, definitely a misplay. Top esports, not only do they get a kill, they also get the tower with the bounty and try to claw their way back into this game. 2,000 gold deficit, but this tower going down top will open it up a little bit more.
Well, Orcs, it is something for top esports, but it's not in front of an objective. It's not near a timer, so they'll have to do that again. But we'll look again, because FPX are the ones that went deep for the dive.
Yeah, and the stun connects from Care, maybe a bit too far. He does Zhonya's, but then Hung is just left in the mix. I think the FPX suddenly realized, yeah, we ain't getting through a Braum Trundle under tower. Not the greatest plan. And they do end up backing away.
So now, you're going to have to tell me a little bit more about the build-up. We've seen FPX go for deep dives, up in that top side. But it doesn't really showcase much of, you know, how FPX have been taking control here. Or we're getting 2 items across some of the core carries before this dragon comes up. And I specifically mean that xiaolaohu should be 2 items deep as well on this Kayle. At level 13, 3 more to go. And even for Care, right? Zhonya's Hourglass fully completed. He's got a Dark Seal heading towards his 3rd item. In a really comfortable position where the damage output is already getting scary enough.
Yeah, and if you actually look as well, the Zhonya's on Care, Zhonya's on Hung. You also have the ultimate from the Kayle. Clid goes untargetable when he obviously gets a reset with the passive. Just a lot of things that make it very hard for top esports to finish off targets, and that is their goal, is able to chunk out, burst out targets, finish them off. A lot of damage can be avoided with those actives. It feels like a very difficult position, but the problem is top esports can't afford to let this dragon go. FPX, if they don't get the dragon, if top esports steal it, it's not a big deal as long as they don't lose the fight hard enough that top esports can Baron. FPX, they want top esports to fight them. They want to bring them in. I think for top esports, an important thing is getting vision control or potentially a pick before the start of the fight. If they can make that happen, that is the best case scenario in theory, but I think xiaolaohu a bit too close to tower.
Yeah, and not giving any windows to top esports. A much better response here from FPX in the second game. We praised them through the early game. Their fight back against Tian, who on this trundle looked very similar. But that skirmish breaking apart top esports from the potential of what seemed to start as a 2-0. That was in our minds. And I definitely feel like I preemptively thought that FPX, after game number 1, weren't really going to show us too much. So props to them for having a better return in this series. But Aux coming towards the dragon, that's when the true test comes forward. And you wanted to see that top esports set up their vision control. But right now, there's really good tracking in the top side jungle. Watching FPX move down in their own corridors against this dragon in 45 seconds.
Yeah, they protect. They know that top esports are on the top side of the map, so they protect Lwx when he picks up the red, make sure no pick can come out. They have a pink ward in the Baron pit, so they know top esports can't sneak a Baron while they're setting up here. But it did give up control off the area over the top esports. I want to see Wayward pair up. I want to see barrel chains in the brushes. Try and get some of that initial poke down onto FPX. That's really what they need to make the difference here.
Coming for his setup now. FPX don't have a brush in this long ward in the brush, excuse me. But one now spotted out. FPX going to be walking into a barrel chain here if they go any further. The charm not connecting with Knight on the flank as Care steals away his ulti and the fight begins, but it begins in the wrong fashion. Top esports already burnt down. The barrel's in the back line. Wayward flipping it around as Lwx looks for his first reset, but buying some time, and Clid dying, and the poke from JackeyLove, the snipe onto Hung. Care getting burnt down as well. Top esports are still low, and losing their jungler gives them hope. FPX might not have the members, but they're still very strong orcs, but that was Wayward all the way.
Yeah, huge battle combos, and that's kind of the thing. Top esports, the fights can be volatile. They need to connect, but he managed to. But now Dragon is being rushed down. No smite for either side. JackeyLove could steal this.
Wayward's not nearby. The W to steal it away, but no. Care secures. Wayward walked away to the bottom wave. He didn't want a part of that at all, Orcs, so top esports give up the Mountain Soul, despite how close it was.
Yeah, I just think it's hard for Wayward to do anything over the wall. Really, Knight and JackeyLove trying to pair their damage. xiaolaohu, they're looking for a pick here.
Okay, Orcs with the charm, being flashed away from. Wayward still getting hit hard. Kayle, level 14. He doesn't have the flash available. We burn it in the trade. Wayward lucky to be alive. And Orcs, I pause there because I'm like, hang on a minute. But top esports should have been a quick pick, but it elongated out as we go all the way back to the dragon fight.
And we look at how much Wayward can do here. Using the Baron pit to cover his barrels. Gets this chain, hits xiaolaohu and Hung, and gets the crit. That's what it can do. And that was nearly enough for them to come out ahead in this fight. The problem is, the positive is they kill Clid. They don't allow for those resets from Viego. A great snipe coming out from JackeyLove. But then Tian is trapped in the pit, and the rest of the team are trying to regroup. But they end up sacrificing their jungler Cad, making a great decision just to finish him off. They then reset, TP the Kayle back in, and that's enough to secure it. So despite the fact top esports got a shutdown, it's a 2k goal difference, they closed the gap, they lost the soul, and that was really what the fight was for.
That permanent buff, man, it's going to hurt. FPX with a shield around them, and they've got a Kayle as well. xiaolaohu moving to the bottom side of the map, but he doesn't have TP. He has to start moving up if FPX are going to threaten Baron. And Orcs with limited vision in the river, it feels like that's what they're playing towards right now.
Yeah, they don't have the scuttle though. Tian has that secured, so it's going to be hard for them to really threaten a Baron. You can see FPX are like posturing there, like, oh, maybe they'll think on Baron. There's no chance. They actually find Tian.
Everfrost as well, taking the subjugate away. Tian caught out. Clid getting the lockdown as well. Tian needs to flash over the wall, but it's too late. Care gets him. And the other player outside of Clid that's been kicking ass is this man in the mid lane.
Now, there's a lot of AoE here from top esports.
Okay, Hung starting to engage with the Winter's Bite. Sets it up. The barrel chain once again. And JackeyLove is exploding the backline. Wayward gets down another. Ulti from Kayle doesn't matter because FPX are so low. It's not getting resets. Jumping in. Reset after reset. He can do it too, while JackeyLove is doing the John Travolta. He's staying alive.
What a clutch fight coming out. Knight solo on HP, but able to find the resets. They won't get Clid here. Wayward spawns in, but no jungler alive means they can't do the Baron in return. Top Esports keeping this one close. Gold only 600 apart now. And a fantastic performance. I said, you know, the thing with these barrels coming out from the GP is you're not always necessarily going to hit them. It's not a guaranteed thing. Wayward is making them look like a guaranteed thing, a point-and-click ability. You do see Tian caught out, and obviously you ult to steal stats, Care ults to steal them back. Tried to save the flash to get over the wall, but ends up going down. And then here. So importantly, Wayward once again with those big barrels. Look at the damage on to both Hung and xiaolaohu. Then gets another chain. Health bar's low. Knight looks for it. And Knight gets chunked out, but just goes in. Plays for the resets. Manages to take those two out. And yes, he does go down to Care. But he's just so focused on getting those kills secured for his team. And now Top Esports looking for xiaolaohu.
It's just individual player flares, isn't it, Aux? This second game is individual player flares. Wayward, Care, Knight. You know, we even saw a little bit of JackeyLove there as well. A couple of his nice Ultra Shock lasers, that W snipe. Aux, we got 23 kills, 26 minutes. That Mountain Salt in the last fight didn't matter as much as we thought it would. But remember, you talked about how this game progresses. We're still at 26 minutes into the game. And as we're approaching late game, we're not quite in the thick of it yet with still not the third item on this Kayle. Only the third item just built for Care. Third item for Lwx and this Jinx. We're approaching it, but you can see Top Esports are antsy to make sure they have an opportunity before it goes any further.
And the Kayle level 16, it gives you that range. And that's the thing that Top Esports kind of struggle with. They have abilities to challenge range, like the mobility from Ahri, the laser from Zeri, the barrels from Wayward. But the problem is that if you don't find those angles, as I said before, but also just when Kayle's level 16, she can just stand at a further distance from you. You know, JackeyLove tries to step up, will just get bursted down. Lwx can just sit back with rockets. That empowered auto with the rapid fire cannon. The crits are really going to start to hurt with the IE completed.
Good point.
So once more, Mountain Souls make it difficult. The compositions make it hard, but Top Esports never giving up in this game.
I mean, that's what you want to see. You know, Top Esports, their mid-games are talked about as well. Lots of improvement this split, but was their weakness in the last split. We saw it against RNG. But TES in this game as they start off the Baron under the cover of night because FPX are resetting. Not only in the first game, Aux, did they Baron and throw it and flip it all around. Now in front of Baron again, the timing couldn't be worse. At 3k, the Jinx rocket coming through, but the smite is there. Top Esports sneaking one, and FPX decided to back at the wrong time.
Fantastic execution from Top Esports. It's going to stand. FPX, they want to reset. Elder's coming up. They know that's a big priority, but Top Esports using that pocket of vision. Clid not there in time, and Lwx, unfortunately, the rocket just sped up the Baron take, and now Top Esports with the fast resets. They don't have control over the Dragon area. That is the downside of that Baron, but they have the extra stats. They have the pushing mid-wave. But this fight may well decide the game. Whichever team gets Elder is almost always going to win the subsequent team fight. So let's see how it ends up playing out.
We've seen smart plays from both of the teams by now. The poke coming through from JackeyLove not hurting Clid as much as Care is here. Everfrost is great, but Mark stands in front like a fridge waiting to be opened. xiaolaohu, where is he right now? Aux, he's going to be split pushing. He has TP, but Top Esports are getting priority because it is a 4 versus 5.
This is Elder, bringing him. He's level 16 Kayle. You need him there. TP, come on.
Big man, Care steals the ulti away for FPX. Make the decision. The series hangs in the balance. The 0-5 hangs in the balance. Inner turret going down. The barrel's being set up. At 7k now, it's imminent. FPX needs to pick the call. 4k, TP still late. xiaolaohu TPing so far away as Care goes in. But the Zeri flies through, but no! Clid gets the steal, but FPX is still blowing up. Tian getting away with the sliver of his life as Hung flashes away. xiaolaohu now maybe with us, but Aux, you got to be molding a bit watching that.
Oh, I'm fuming. Like, I'm mind blown. xiaolaohu, level 16 Kayle. He's waiting for gold, apparently. You have a Doran shield. Just sell it. Why are you sitting on a Doran shield? 30 minutes in the game. Level 16. Just reset, sell it, TP in. You're Kayle. You're so strong. I mean, they'll get those 2 towers. They'll get some extra gold. They did get the Elder. It was a great smite from Clid. But man, I think if Clid didn't secure that smite, Top Esports would have just bowled them over.
100% agree with the way this game's going. Aux will look again because this steal out of the corner of my eye. I just missed it.
Yeah, it manages just to ult over the wall, finds the steal just in time. It comes close and he secures it. But then think about how this plays out. The mobility of top esports, they back off here. But Knight, 100% if you gave him the Elderbeard, he would be going in. He'd be trying to make the plays. So the smite clutched it. But I was losing my mind seeing Kayle pushing top there.
Orcs, you're not going to make it to 30 if you stick around in the LPL. I'll tell you what, or 35. I don't know how old you are, but you don't let anything lose all your hair. You're gonna go downhill from here. Best of luck.
LNG vs TT aged me considerably is all I'm gonna say.
I heard. It's good to have you on the team, but let's see how long you stick around. I love the enthusiasm. I love the passion about this game, because in game number 2, when FPX Zeri hangs on the thread so they don't go down 0-5 at the start of the LPL split, they've at least got the Elder buff. But Elder's only lasting for another 45 seconds. Top esports doesn't look like they're sticking around, but I say that the Zap tags Knight Care looks for the engage. But FPX can go no further until the wave continues pushing through, and Wayward is doing a good job of denying that alongside JackeyLove's W.
Yeah, there's just fantastic wave play in this composition. The W from Zeri, the barrels from Wayward. The thing with the Elder is the Elder's fantastic if the NA team runs into you and wants to fight. But in this situation, top esports know they just have to wait out the time. But there's no Baron to force the push for FPX. So one more wave to clear, and then top esports are safe. Let's see if they can do it.
Cannon Barrage comes through. It's a very defensive one here, with the wave being slowed down. 5 seconds left of the buff to go, as Care is the first one in front of lines as Hung gets the engagement. The buff has now just expired. Knight heading forward, hits xiaolaohu pretty hard, and Hung's going to be the first to go. Mark negating the damage to Pillar is great, as well as Lwx flashes the wave at top esports. They're out for blood. Tian running down the line as this ain't even match of the week, but I can feel it in my bones, Orcs. There's going to be more blood yet to come.
They managed to hold them off. They managed to defend the pressure coming out from FPX. The Elder is gone. Sometimes a game-ending buff, and this is why that soul is so important, though. The fact that Baron times out, Elder times out, but FPX still have that Mountain Soul contributing, but it still feels like the threat is there. One barrel combo, easily capable of just winning this game, especially as we've just seen an Infinity Edge finished for Wayward. FPX, they have the level 16 Kayle. It feels like it should be enough, but top esports doing everything in their power. And look at the gold, by the way. Hysterics, 100 apart at 32 minutes.
Kind of what you hope for as an LPL fan. 25 kills to add into that mix as well now. You guys going to be looking at the timers in the top right, top left of your screen. Pay attention to the Baron timer, because top esports are now moving to the top side to set up some of this vision. The team that we thought had no business being in this game, but for FPX, coming out a bit trepidatiously, right? Scuttle gets secured as well, Orcs. So it's not like FPX are going to be lacking any vision in the area for quite a while.
Yeah, I mean, I think top esports, I got to say, Tian has done a fantastic job. Even when behind, finding windows to get the Scuttle around the Baron. Really positive to see him just find those opportunities, be able to pick it up. Something to note, though, look at the items on top esports. Stopwatch on Wayward, Tian, and Knight. They know it's getting to the point where one fight will dictate this game. GA available for JackeyLove. And now Clid being pressured here. You can see this is just for red buff. They want to pick it up. They want to escort JackeyLove. They are taking 0 chances at this point of the game.
We've seen that from both teams. You pulled that out from Lwx. It's safety in numbers here for both FPX and top esports. 10 seconds till Baron. Ping's going out, but top esports, excuse me, own the river. Clid coming in through mid, trying to support this mid lane wave. But I'm kind of interested in the bottom side here, Orcs, because xiaolaohu once again getting close towards his teleport. Wayward has his own, and with the Cannon Barrage now available, FPX moving up here, but it's well spotted by top esports. They're on so many wards.
Yeah, and top esports, you can see FPX tentative about approaching. One of the things is that with the GP in the silent, you can clear the waves easily against the Kayle. But if like a Baron is started, his ult can have that immediate impact. Kayle needs to be there. And the Kayle as well, like let's say Clid starts to get focused out. If you TP too late to help him, could be disaster. Now xiaolaohu might be in trouble.
Comes through. Charm's going to come in as well, but the Divine Judgment immediately onto Knight. It's a level 18 Kayle. 1 versus 2. I wouldn't put it past him. He gets one, but Wayward takes the others. That was too close. Way too close. A 1-for-1 Orcs mid for top.
You're starting to see the potential of this Kayle. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, yeah.
Knight goes down. This is a weird trade for top esports simply because of the value of the Kayle. I just don't think it's enough for them to suddenly stop the Baron, but maybe they'll try. They've TP'd Wayward in. Fighting without the Kayle would be A lot easier than fighting with the Kayle, but Elder is up in 50, and I think that is going to be the call. Knight is up sooner, but xiaolaohu has TP. That is the difference. A Knight would have about 10 seconds to get there before xiaolaohu could just TP in. You can see them setting up for the Elder now. Care on that flank. This could be... The game could come down to this.
Yeah, a lot of damage. Watch for JackeyLove, though. The Silent Predator here with the GA is hung Clid from different angles. Care is going to use a blast cone. This was stolen last time, and it's top esports sit on top of the objective, wanting to flip it. It's up to Tian versus Clid. Right on top again. They're looking for Tian the smite. It's Clid again! A double back-to-back steal as Lwx has joined in the show. He takes mark. He takes the troll. And top esports get it flipped back on their head as FPX reunite in the face of adversity.
And this should be enough. 2 members down for top esports. They're pushing in. Charm goes wide from Knight. They're just going to push this and look for the end. Wayward has to try and clear these waves. Cannon Barrage is up soon.
Yes, all the ulti Spirit Rush going to be used. He has Elder. He's following through every move of Knight. The abscond Duck doesn't connect, and so Knight gets a bit more time. Wayward looking for the barrel chain. The setup clears the way for Care. The root as well. The orange, he doesn't get the abscond Duck. Going golden, the Kayle ulti as well. Wayward in the nick of his own time. As xiaolaohu is the damage dealer, but at level 18 without an ulti, he's in trouble. Aux, I'm looking for a TP, but no one has it.
Oh man, they managed to defend just to that. You can see pings coming out on the Baron. I think top esports might want to rush over towards this one, but it's too dangerous. It's too dangerous. Care has TP. They still have the Elder buff. Top esports just need to defend. They managed to hold on, but once more, Clid finds the smite over Tian. Tian didn't even actually use the smite. The dragon got so low. I want to see the replay. Not sure if we'll get time, though. And you can see xiaolaohu fishing for a window to end. Just his pressure might give FPX the window around this Baron.
Mark here by himself in his lonesome, excuse me, alongside Knight, but at the very least, it's going to feel like that with FPX as a 4-man crew. Being able to pick up the Baron, top esports nowhere near. So, double buff now activated, but Elder Aux for another 50 seconds. That's worth mentioning. The Elder that gives them so much fighting power in this game is going to be expiring as it looks like they head towards the base from different lanes.
But the difference is now with the Baron, they can push these waves in and it's harder to defend against. They want to make things happen here and now before the Elder times out. Look how quickly they're just trying to rush forwards.
Clid's the one rushing head first, hung for the engage. You can see as the cannon barrage is used, but look at the mid wave. Inhibitor exposed. xiaolaohu, the level 18 Kayle with 4.5 items, pummels it to bits. Clid helping out, giving support for his top laner and shadowing him as the top lane wave pushes in. 15 seconds until Elder despawns as Wayward gets knocked up. The ult there into GA. That's the beginning of FPX's hung. Goes in deep, but it means that Tian dies. Wayward for a couple of autos. The LWX has the range, and top esports are getting battered away. Knight, JackeyLove coming up next as LWX is unleashed. Finally, the Phoenix, I can say, flies in this series at the very least.
It was a battle. Woo! It was an absolute battle. Top esports not making it easy for FPX despite the early lead. Clid, someone who has had so much criticism this season so far, absolutely stepping up, was ahead in the early game, got the lead for his team, and when it came to the smites, those critical clutch moments, 2 Elders, both secured by Clid, and it was enough finally to get them over the finish line.
This has turned into a pretty fun series. A pretty fun series at the very least. That was a lot of...
It was an adventure. Yeah, I mean, that game... I have to credit top esports for making it so difficult, particularly Wayward with the barrels, constantly finding angles to challenge, and it really made things hard for FPX. I gotta say, FPX, with the lead you had in that game, the fact it was so difficult, it is worrying, but this is a team who has struggled so far. This is a team who has 0-4 in series score. They managed to take down the spring finalist who took MSI champion RNG to 5 games. Sure. Definitely a positive boost for the mental. And again, Clid, on point with those smites when he needed to be.
When the game almost turned around, yeah, the smites, the biggest thing here, Clid has been bagged out, not only by casters like our team included, by people across the world saying that Clid is one of the worst parts of FPX right now. Be that as it may, whether it's true or not, this second game with the steals that came through when FPX were hesitant with xiaolaohu to make the TP in the bottom lane play, that first Elder Steal Aux felt so crucial for the game state, where they were able to actually get towards the base, open the map a little bit more for themselves and give them a bit more space to head to things like Baron. You know, second Elder came through as well with another steal. Yeah, the jungle diff, I guess, switched around from the mid game, well, from the early game onwards in that second one.
Yeah, and I gotta say, something we can see from top esports is what they were criticized for in spring was the early game was fantastic, but the mid game left something to be desired, particularly against RNG. I feel like they're kind of showing that in the mid game they have a better idea what to do. They were behind in this game. Team fights were harder. Like they had more difficulty executing on them, and yet they managed to bring the game back significantly. This is an example, like the stats we were talking about before the series. Down at 15 minutes, managed to regain a lot of gold up to that 30-minute mark, even finding a lead, but in the end, they end up not being able to secure the objectives. The Mountain Soul being a constant threat in all these fights is a pain you can't remove. And you look at the carries on the side of FPX, the late game Kayle, the late game Jinx, Care just fantastic for the entire 38 minutes, enough to carry them home.
A good point you make is one we didn't talk about, which is Lwx, who just got to that point. Like, smooth sailing here for the Jinx, 4-1 and 5. Lwx, he's great at late game AD carries. He's been known as a great team fighter as well in the past. Like, champions like Felios, Jinx, alongside his repertoire, have always been looked at, especially in recent seasons as they got strong. So it's nice to see that Lwx had such a big impact as well. But, you know, Aux in this one, it was shaky at the very least. Clid gets some steals, but what if he doesn't? What if Clid doesn't get the steals in there? What if they don't get the flip? It does feel like FPX made a couple of crucial mistakes where they got punished hard for it, and, you know, those steals were their way of coming back in. But if they didn't find that, who knows what they would have had.
And I think it's kind of a return to spring and also some of the issues I've had so far in summer. This team does struggle sometimes when it comes to how they play out things in the late stage of the game. They're set up for fights, they're set up for objectives. In particular was something we went hard on. The FPX Baron was something we talked about, because the amount of times they wouldn't even, like, they would just put like one ward over the wall when they're going for a Baron on blue side. Enemy jungler would just come in the pit and steal it. This time they were the ones stealing, but it still begs the question, if you're this far ahead, should it be a flip? Well, in the end, they won this one, but there's two sides to that coin.
Yeah, there is. It's a concern, but at the very least, getting it even in the series, a fresh start in Game 3. Game 2, the